Imagine a world where you cannot buy bread for your children. You cannot pay rent. You cannot fill a prescription, board a train, or walk into a marketplace without first proving your allegiance to a system that has declared itself God. No survival unless you carry the mark. This is not a dystopian novel. This is not a Hollywood screenplay. This is the vision given to the Apostle John on the island of Patmos nearly 2,000 years ago, and it is written in the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation. The passage begins not with a monster rising from the sea, but with something far more deceptive. A second beast emerges from the earth, and this one looks like a lamb. 2 horns like a lamb, soft and gentle, the very image of innocence. But when it opens its mouth, the voice that comes out is the voice of a dragon. The most dangerous powers in history have never announced themselves as evil. They have always arrived wearing the face of peace, of order, of progress, of salvation. They have always spoken in the language of blessing while building the architecture of control. This second beast performs signs and wonders. It calls fire down from heaven in the sight of men, and the world watches in awe. It constructs an image of the first beast, the one that rose from the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns, the one that received a mortal wound and yet lived. And then it breathes life into that image, so that the image can speak, so that the image can demand worship. Those who refuse to bow are marked for death. And then comes the decree, the most chilling economic mandate in all of prophetic scripture. No one may buy or sell unless they carry the mark or the name or the number of the beast. That number is 666. For 2,000 years, that number has echoed through the human imagination, like a wound that will not close. It has been tattooed on villains and whispered in horror films. It has been assigned to emperors and popes, to politicians and barcodes, to microchips and social credit scores. Every generation has had its candidate, its theory, its fear. Yet most people who tremble at the number have never stopped to read what the text actually says about it. And most people who mock it as superstition have never understood what it was designed to mean. The number 666 is not a riddle about horror. It is a riddle about worship. In the ancient world, letters carried numerical values. This practice was called gematria, and every educated person in the 1st century understood it. When John writes that the number of the beast is the number of a man, he is inviting his readers to calculate. The name that fits with devastating precision is Nero Caesar, the emperor of Rome who first unleashed systematic persecution against the followers of Jesus. Nero Caesar, written in Hebrew letters, produces exactly 666. The early church, reading this vision in the shadow of imperial terror, would have understood immediately. But John does not seal the number to one man or one empire. He writes, "Let anyone with understanding calculate the number." This is an open invitation across time. Every generation is called to look at the powers that surround them and ask, which system is demanding what only God deserves? Which power is positioning itself as the source of provision, identity, and ultimate allegiance? The beast is not limited to Nero. The beast is any system that rises to the place of God and marks its followers with its own image instead of his. This is where the vision connects to something far older, something burned into the memory of every Jewish reader who had ever heard the story of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, erects a golden statue 90 feet high and commands every nation to fall down and worship it at the sound of the music. Those who refuse will be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. 3 young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refuse. They stand upright while every other knee bends. And they say to the king, "Our God is able to deliver us, but even if he does not, we will not worship your image." The structure of Daniel 3 and Revelation 13 is not coincidental. It is theological architecture. The beast always builds an image. The beast always demands worship. And the faithful are always called to stand. Now consider the theological symmetry that Revelation builds with breathtaking precision. In the 7th chapter of Revelation, the servants of God are sealed on their foreheads, marked with the name of the living God. The 144,000 stand with the Lamb on Mount Zion, and they have his name and the name of his Father written on their foreheads. God marks his people. He writes his name on their lives as a declaration of ownership, protection, and identity. And the beast does exactly the same thing. He marks his followers on the forehead and the hand with his name and his number. The mark of the beast is not a random act of control. It is a counterfeit. It is a dark mirror of the seal of God. The question Revelation asks is not what technology will deliver this mark. The question is, whose name is already written on your life? The forehead in biblical imagery represents the mind. What you believe, what you worship, what you give your ultimate loyalty to. The hand represents action, how you work, how you spend, what you build your life around. To bear the mark of the beast means to have aligned your thinking and your living with a system that has placed itself in the throne room of God. It means to have traded the eternal for the immediate, the kingdom of heaven for the economy of the beast. Most people who bear such a mark will not feel like they made a dramatic choice. They will simply have drifted, purchase by purchase, compromise by compromise, silence by silence. This is why Revelation does not merely describe the mark as a future event to be feared. It describes it as a present reality to be discerned. The beast is already in the world. Systems that demand total allegiance, economic, ideological, cultural, are already marking their followers. They are already asking you to bow before the image in exchange for belonging, for provision, for acceptance. The music is already playing. The only ones who will stand upright in that moment are those who have already decided, long before the furnace is lit, whose they are. You cannot wait until the crisis to choose your allegiance. You choose it now, in the quiet, in the ordinary, in the marketplace of everyday life. Whose image do you bear? Whose name is written on your forehead? Whose values shape the work of your hands? Subscribe to follow the complete Book of Revelation journey, from the Four Horsemen to the New Jerusalem. Your next vision is already waiting.